Actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Hey, welcome into a Monday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. Glad to have you along. We're coming out of break, and we'll get going right as soon as the intro music plays, and it's starting to play right now. So thanks for joining us. It was a violent weekend on the city's south side. That's not exactly news because that is one of the city's more dangerous places. But when a 2-year-old is shot in a drive-by shooting, it is nevertheless newsworthy. That's where we begin a Monday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. We had 4 people shot. Four shot on the south side early Sunday morning, 1700 block of Parsons Avenue around 3:30 a.m. Fortunately, none of the 4 died. And very, very fortunately, a shooting on Saturday night, also on the south side, 900 block of Elmsworth Avenue. Appears somebody drove by a home and shot into the home and hit a toddler, a 2-year-old, in his upper torso. Thanks to the first responders who responded promptly and saved his life. He's expected to survive. But it was interesting reading about this story from the perspective of the people who lived there. Touching a little girl, 12 years old, spoke to 10 TV about it, and she said her home where she lives has bullet holes in the windows that were there when they moved in. So this is sadly life in so many of our neighborhoods here in Central Ohio. It is not the fault of police. It is the fault of an administration, a mayoral administration that does not demand of its justice system penalties for crimes and the lack of consequences for crimes, then translates into people not being afraid of doing things that are bad, and so they continue to do them, and crime continues to escalate, and neighborhoods continue to not be safe, and they will continue to not be safe as long as you continue to vote Democrats into power in this city. This is a local phenomenon. We will see nationally if this same phenomenon continues. Donald Trump, when he comes into the White House, is going to get busy right away on deporting illegal aliens who have entered our country in violation of American law. There is an appetite for this nationally. It's one of the big reasons Donald Trump got elected. The polls show that people favor this. But it's a concept until you see it actually play out, until you actually see video of people being deported. And then we'll see how public opinion settles. We'll see if people are as committed to it then, now that they see, the real life picture of what it looks like. We'll see if that happens. Do people continue to say, yeah, this is not sustainable? And it isn't, by the way. It isn't sustainable to continue to allow our country to be invaded from other countries. But will people's stomachs have the fortitude to handle what conceptually right now they're just sort of envisioning? Oh, yeah, good idea, deport people. When you see it happen, is your commitment as robust as it was in the beginning? That will determine whether or not the deportation efforts go as far as they need to go. And make no mistake, they need to go there. Now, this is a story that's not getting a lot of headlines because we have a corrupt media that doesn't do its job. But over the weekend, Joe Biden, you remember him, still president of the United States, Joe Biden, is now allowing Ukraine to use long-range U.S. missiles to strike into Russia. 190 miles into Russia. This is the latest do-over in Biden administration policy to the war in Ukraine. How many times, I've lost track, have the Ukrainians asked for a certain weapons set or general category of military aid, fighter jets, for instance, ATACMS missiles, other things. And Biden's like, no, can't do that. It'll escalate things. And we don't want to escalate because, heaven forbid, we actually try to win a war. That's not what we're about in the United States. We're about extending wars. And then once they reach the point where they've become problematic, and for instance, we spent 20 years in Afghanistan, well, then we have to withdraw with our tail between our legs and get U.S. servicemen blown to bits while we are retreating. And we have to hand over billions of dollars in military armaments to the Taliban so they can stage a nice parade and make us look like even bigger fools than we did when people were falling off airplanes as we were hightailing it out of Hamid Karzai Airport. But now we're going to allow Volodymyr Zelensky to have these long-range missiles that can attack 120 miles into Russia. And I know the Russia-Ukraine thing is very confusing. There are people like J.D. Vance, Tucker Carlson, and maybe Donald Trump who say, no, we're giving way too much money to Ukraine. And then there are others, not just Democrats who all of a sudden are all about war, but, the Nikki Haley types, the Liz Cheney types, the neocons who never met a war they didn't want to fight interminably, not to win, but, just to fight. So I thought I would bring in the perspective of someone who really deeply and intricately understands the Russia-Ukraine conflict to explain it all to you.
So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
So you got it now? Russia's a big country. Ukraine's a small country. Russia decided to invade Ukraine, and basically that is wrong. Man, every time you hear her talk, I hope you pause from whatever you're doing and thank the Lord that we do not have a Kamala Harris presidency ahead of us. Now, what is behind Joe Biden's decision to green light missiles? Get your arms around this, okay? American military armaments given to Ukraine that can go 190 miles into Russia to obliterate Russian buildings, kill Russian military members, perhaps kill Russian civilians. That's a big deal. That's quite an escalation of this conflict. Certainly our president would want to explain to the American people why he is doing this. What has changed his mind on this? The White House had no comment. What about the State Department? They had no comment. No comment. We are sending long-range missiles into Russia, which has more nuclear weapons than we do. And we are just giving another country that's not even a member of NATO, we're giving them military armaments that can kill Russian citizens. But we're not escalating. We're not escalating, okay? Now, you can put this decision under the same umbrella as virtually every decision the Biden administration has made since it entered office, which is, if Trump did it, let's undo it. If Trump won't do it, then let's do it. Because certainly if you had to guess what Donald Trump's approach to Ukraine would be, it would be that, you know what? This is an unwinnable war for you, Ukraine. You're not going to drive Russia's military completely out of all the territory that they've invaded. It is foolish for you to continue to imperil your citizens and your infrastructure from now, particularly since Russia has North Korea on its side and is using North Korean troops to bolster, apparently, the shortage of Russian troops. Donald Trump would like to end this war. He would like to, I don't know, you can look at it like cut and run, or you can look at it like pragmatically approach a war for which there is no plausible perfect ending. No plausible perfect ending. Yeah, would love it. We've weakened the Russian military's been weakened, no doubt. Don't want to embolden Vladimir Putin to go into other countries. I conceptually, I get all that. I get all of it. But in terms of what's actually happening, Putin and Russia have nuclear weapons. That's, maybe we should flash forward to that stage of where this could go, which is Vladimir Putin going to allow Ukraine to completely defeat him and embarrass him on the world stage? What do you think? No. Okay. Does he have up his sleeve something that could prevent that? Yes, he does. Now, it's a big step to resort to that. Would he do that? You don't know and I don't know. Is Vladimir Putin a stone cold killer? Yes, he is. Is Vladimir Putin somebody who's afraid of Joe Biden? Even though Joe Biden says he is. Of course not. He's not afraid of him. Is Vladimir Putin more afraid of Donald Trump? Yes, but Donald Trump is not stupid like Joe Biden is to imperil the safety of the entire world if Vladimir Putin is pushed to the brink. And this is a decision that Joe Biden has made that comes a lot closer to escalating this war than it does to ending it.
Mostly cloudy and mild for this afternoon. The high today at 52. Partly cloudy, mild evening. Low tonight at 55. Clouds and mild, a couple of showers for tomorrow. The high 63. Clouds and a few showers on Wednesday. A breezy afternoon, a little bit cooler, high 57. Clouds, breezy, cold day on Thursday. Rain and snow at times, becoming all rain. A high Thursday afternoon at 37. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
From Angel Studios comes Bonhoeffer, based on the powerful true story of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. As the Nazis tighten their grip on Germany, Bonhoeffer joins a deadly plot to assassinate Hitler, risking his faith and fate to save millions of Jews from genocide. You will go to England as a spy.
I'm ready to meet my destiny.
Bonhoeffer, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Exclusively in theaters November 22nd. Go to angel.com/Bonhoeffer.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and want to see what Salem Surround can do for you, Google Salem Surround Columbus. Remember to Google Salem Surround Columbus today.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills, and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard, aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey folks, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back. But what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at the Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PREPARE to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantage status. So text PREPARE to 989898. That's PREPARE to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
New connected technology, and the Consumer Technology Association wants to help you protect the security of your devices. First, don't use default or easy-to-guess passwords. Create unique ones and keep them safe. Next, look for and install security updates from device manufacturers. Also, have an active firewall for your home router, and consider using a professional installer to set up your new devices. Easy tips from the Consumer Technology Association to help keep your devices secure.
Man, did you hear the weather forecast for this week, Thursday? My man Scott came up to me yesterday at church. He said, snow on Thursday. I was like, ugh, not ready for that. So maybe now that you think about winter coming, maybe you'll start to fast forward to warmer climes and maybe August of 2025 when you can join like-minded patriots on the Patriots Alaska Cruise with Mike Gallagher, Larry Elder, and other Salem media personalities, including Joe Piscopo, formerly of Saturday Night Live, when it was funny. Joe Piscopo now does a talk show in New York. He's a Salem radio host. You can hang out with Joe Piscopo, with Mike Gallagher, with Larry Elder, and others from Salem, cruising on the Holland America 5-star hospitality ship, which will sail through Glacier Bay, Juneau, Ketchikan, and Stevens Passage. You'll also be able to hear interesting and informative lectures from these folk. Well, I don't know, chats, shall we say, because it's light and airy. The Patriots Alaska Cruise, August 16th to the 23rd, 2025. Be a part of it. Go to travelwithsalem.com. That's travelwithsalem.com. So my Sundays are pretty leisurely. I disengage from my phone and watch a little football or whatever else strikes my fancy. Boy, the football was not really too watchable yesterday for those of us from the state of Ohio, was it? The Browns and the Bengals, both of those went badly. Shout out Jesse Mendez, Ohio State Wrestling, got it done on Saturday night in a national championship rematch with Bo Bartlett of Penn State. But then I put my laptop out and I start to prepare for today's show, and I go to the enemy side and I see on Politico there's an interview with Sherrod Brown, the vanquished senator from the state of Ohio. Bernie Moreno put, I hoped, a stake in Sherrod Brown's political heart, but no. Because J.D. Vance will move into the vice presidential position in Washington as Donald Trump's running mate, we will have a vacancy for the Senate position that Vance previously held. And who Mike DeWine will name to that, and it is the governor's decision, who Mike DeWine will name to that is a matter of much speculation. Now, there is one home run choice, but Vivek Ramaswamy is otherwise engaged with the Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk, and I don't think Vivek Ramaswamy, who has political aspirations beyond serving in the U.S. Senate, I don't think Vivek Ramaswamy can do both. I don't think he can be part of Musk's Department of Government Efficiency and be saddled with the participation in the U.S. Senate, which is constricted by much government inefficiency. So I don't think Vivek Ramaswamy wants the Senate seat, which is unfortunate because it is very clear from reading this interview with Sherrod Brown on Politico that Sherrod Brown is going to be back on your ballot in some way, shape, or form in the future, either as a gubernatorial candidate in the state of Ohio or as one more run at a fourth Senate term, because Politico directly asked him if he'd get involved, if he's ruling anything out, and he said, no, I'm not ruling anything out. So this is a big choice by Mike DeWine. You not only have to appoint somebody who will be effective as a senator from the state of Ohio for the next couple of years, but someone who will not be serving, like J.D. Vance has 4 years to serve in the U.S. Senate if he were not elected vice president. But the way this works is if you have to replace a senator, the person you name to take that spot doesn't inherit the full term outstanding on J.D. Vance's Senate dance card. That person has to run for re-election in the next round of Senate elections, which will be, of course, in 2026. Okay, so who does DeWine name, because while we are a red state and an increasingly red state, Sherrod Brown lost to Bernie Moreno by a much smaller margin than Kamala Harris lost Ohio to Donald Trump. So Sherrod Brown is someone who's been able to fool people for a long, long time that he stands for the working man. And this interview with Politico was awash in him bemoaning how the Democratic Party has turned its back on workers. And he went through all these different places where he went out and he spoke to union workers and how touched he was by these union workers, and they're Black and Hispanic and they're this and they're that and they're downtrodden and they're making less than $20 an hour and oh, boo, hoo, 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 hoo. I wish we could get to the point where we could see through this union boondoggle. Could we run someone against Sherrod Brown who would point out how inefficient industries become when unions take them over? Now, you're listening to a kid whose parent, I'm not a kid anymore, but when I was a kid, both my parents worked in union shops. And our family was greatly helped by the fact that my parents were paid, no doubt, better than they would have been paid had they not been union members. But we're talking about the 1970s and the 1980s. We're not talking about the 2010s and the 2020s. And unions, because by their very nature, they are set up to serve their members, it's a bit of a bad Ponzi scheme, right? You sit down and you negotiate with a union, and the union is there to represent only one half of the enterprise, an important half of the enterprise, the part that makes the whole thing run, but not the part of the enterprise that funds the enterprise so that things can run. And in negotiations, no union leader is going to say, wow, Mr. Funder of the enterprise, I see that you're struggling. We need to give back some of our salary. We need to give back some of our benefits. No, that's not how it's set up. You have to always be pushing. In other words, you have to be a Democrat. You have to never hold a victory party. You have to always get higher wages, better benefits, more family leave, this, that, and the other. And what does that do? It puts more of a drain on the people funding the enterprise. And the greedier unions get, UAW would be one of the key examples of this, the more unions cannibalize the business that is allowing its membership to prosper. And so the idea of unions, I'm not saying it's extinct, but I'm saying that people like Sherrod Brown and other Democrats who are exclusively loyal to unions and don't stand up for the right of people to also be in those industries, but not be members of the union. See, that would hold the union accountable. That would hold the union accountable. Being a right to work state would hold the union accountable all over the country. But Sherrod Brown doesn't believe in that. And so Sherrod Brown is going to, and he has fooled people into, well, I'm working for the common man, the working man. Gee, that's funny. As long as you've been in government, what's happened to manufacturing in the Mahoning Valley? What's happened to manufacturing all over the U.S.? What's happened to manufacturing in Cleveland? You know, when I first started working in Cleveland, I used to drive up I-71 and a big old honking auto plant on my left in Brook Park. Now, you know what's there? Nothing. You know what'll be there someday if they can figure out how to get it there? A new Browns stadium. So Sherrod Brown has been on the job for a long time talking his union malarkey, and it hasn't worked for the Ohio worker. Some of it's innovation, some of it's more efficient manufacturing with robotics and things like that. But Sherrod Brown is not going away because he's got a lot of people fooled. So we need a strong candidate to run against him.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. New troubling details emerge about President-elect Trump's pick to lead the Pentagon. Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth, the subject of sexual assault allegations going back to 2017, allegations that Hegseth denies. President-elect Trump has tapped free speech advocate Brendan Carr to serve as chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. Carr currently serves as an FCC commissioner. Then an E. coli outbreak. It sickened dozens of people. They ate bagged organic carrots. Now a recall of those carrots. The largest U.S. budget carrier, Spirit Airlines, filing for bankruptcy protection. It lost more than $2.5 billion since the start of 2020. Watching Wall Street, the Dow 16 points, the Nasdaq ahead 165, and the S&P trading 30 points higher. More details, srnnews.com.
From Angel Studios comes Bonhoeffer, based on the powerful true story of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. As the Nazis tighten their grip on Germany, Bonhoeffer joins a deadly plot to assassinate Hitler, risking his faith and fate to save millions of Jews from genocide.
So we're doing this as a spy. I'm ready to meet my destiny.
Bonhoeffer, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Exclusively in theaters November 22nd. Go to angel.com/Bonhoeffer.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com.
That's the second pen I've run out of ink today.
Infrared grills at Best.
Hi, Bruce Hooley. I hope you'll join me every day, 11 to 1 for the Bruce Hooley Show. A lot of content.
Might as well throw it away, right?
Talk about it's a transformational time in our country, and you want to understand all the issues. That's what I hopefully help you do. Bruce Hooley Show, 11 to 1, Monday through Friday on 989theanswer.com.
When it comes to safety, don't settle for anything less than the best. At Elite Fire Services, we protect what matters most, your business and your peace of mind. Our expert team provides top-notch fire safety inspections, and we service fire extinguishers, fire sprinkler systems, backflow preventers, fire alarms, kitchen hit suppression systems, and exit lighting. Visit EliteFire.org today to get a free quote and ensure your fire safety is in elite hands. Because when it comes to protection, you deserve the best. Elite Fire Services, your safety is our mission.
The Christmas Mortgage Miracle is back. For 7 years, 98.9 FM The Answer and the Christmas Mortgage Miracle has made it possible to win next year's mortgage or rent. This year, the grand prize is $18,000. Increase your opportunity to win by entering up to once per day and complete optional bonus tasks for even more chances to win. Receive this blessing for 2025 with the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Sweepstakes. Enter to win today at 989theanswer.com. That's 989theanswer.com.
Becoming septic.
Antibiotics started. Good, ready. Let's move it.
Infections can lead to a deadly chain reaction in your body called sepsis. Very quickly, sepsis can cause tissue damage, organ failure, and even death. If you know the risks, can spot the symptoms, and act fast, then you can get ahead of sepsis. Learn more at cdc.gov/sepsis.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers. Tune in or out.
If you are looking to upgrade the flooring in your home before the holidays, you might think it's a losing proposition because you've gone to a big box store and they were like, oh, we can't get that done. That's like an 8-week process and we get the holiday rush. And sorry, come see us after the first of the year. Well, that will not be the reception that you get if you go to brucehooley.com and click on flooring in the upper right-hand corner of the page, because we can still get you in. But it is getting a little late in the process. But, you know, if you had to pay more, maybe you'd be willing to do that. Unfortunately, I can't tell you that you'd pay more and we'll get you in, because you'll actually pay less and we'll get you in ahead of the big box stores, because we always save people money. We have our own installers and we're a nimble operation with all the major carpet brands that you see at every big box store and at every major carpet store that are located on much higher rent locations than we are. That's how we can keep our costs down. So if you're interested in a flooring remodel, carpet, or luxury vinyl plank that looks like wood or tile, go to brucehooley.com, click flooring, brucehooley.com, click flooring. I do not have an affinity for baby carrots as a snack. I wish I did. I wish I enjoyed baby carrots like potato chips. But as you may have heard in the Salem News update at the bottom of the hour, a California grower has issued a nationwide recall of organic carrots because of an E. coli outbreak. These carrots are sold under various names at Kroger, Trader Joe's, Walmart, and Whole Foods. So all 4 of those locations are here in Columbus. Now, the numbers that I have seen on this are that 1 person has died and 15 people have been hospitalized. Which, if I channel my inner logical mind of MSNBC's Jen Psaki, seems like a big fuss about nothing. And I say, what, Bruce? A person has died from eating carrots and 15 have been hospitalized with E. coli, which could kill more. And you're saying it's much ado about nothing? I didn't say I'm saying that. I'm saying if I channel my inner Jen Psaki logical mind, which is to say illogical mind, then the E. coli outbreak is not really that big of a deal. I mean, after all, it's only killed 1 person and it's only hospitalized 15. How many people do we have in America? We have like over 330 million people, don't we? So 1 dead and 15 hospitalized? In the deranged, illogical mind of Jen Psaki is not that big of a deal. Now you say, wait, you can't supply me audio proof that Jen Psaki is poo-pooing the E. coli outbreak on baby carrots. And you're right, I can't. But I can supply you audio proof that would apply to the E. coli outbreak, given what she had to say over the weekend about the Democratic postmortem in the election and the issue that played big with independents in that election.
There's obviously a lot of soul searching right now going on within the Democratic Party, and that's a good thing. But what I worry about is that in the course of all that soul searching, some Democrats might reach the wrong sweeping conclusions. And there are a lot of issues that fall into that bucket. But one in particular that stuck out to me is transgender rights. Republicans spent hundreds of millions of dollars on anti-trans ads this election cycle, including one that showed Vice President Harris talking about government funding for gender-reaffirming care for prisoners and detainees. If that sounds like a particularly obscure issue, it is.
A particularly obscure issue, she says. The transgender thing is a particularly obscure issue, like 1 person dying of E. coli, like 15 being hospitalized of E. coli. A particularly obscure issue it is. Please continue, Jen.
It is, because it applies to a tiny group of people.
Tiny group.
A policy that, by the way, was in place during the first Trump presidency. Another one of the lines that ran over and over again in those ads and throughout right-wing media is this idea that America is faced with a crisis of boys playing in girls' sports. Now, these ads created this perception that the issues of trans kids playing sports was dominating schools across the country, which is completely false. Some people got pulled into that argument.
Oh, some people got pulled into that argument. It's happening all over the country. Isn't it? Jen says it's not happening all over the country. It's not happening in Connecticut, where girls had their state championships stolen by boys. It's not happening to Riley Gaines with Leah Thomas and other swimmers who are actually women in the NCAA championships. It's not happening at San Jose State University, which, wait a minute, Connecticut, Riley Gaines, University of Kentucky, San Jose. Seems like we have a expanse of transgender athletes from East Coast to West Coast. Oh, and I forgot. Was it Peyton McNabb, the girl in North Carolina who has a permanent brain injury and facial paralysis from being spiked in the face by a boy? Do we not see videos all the time of boys playing girls' sports and dominating? But Jen Psaki says, it's just a minor thing. It's not sweeping the country. Don't worry. Eat your baby carrots. You're going to be fine. It's just a few of you. It's only 1 of you who's dead and only 15 of you who are hospitalized.
I mean, immediately after the election, Congressman Seth Moulton told the New York Times that, quote, Democrats spend way too much time trying not to offend anyone rather than being brutally honest about the challenges many Americans face. I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. Came on this network to discuss those comments.
I was just speaking authentically as a dad about one of many issues where I think we're just out of touch with the majority of voters. And I stand by my position. Maybe I didn't get all the words exactly right. But the point is that the backlash I've received proves my point that we can't even have these discussions as a party.
He is not wrong on that. He is absolutely not wrong. He said what is true. He said what is logical. Jen Psaki is frustrated because they utterly failed to turn common sense into a thought crime and to leverage it for votes from independents. There's an organization called Blueprint that speaks to swing voters. And we were told throughout this election that swing voters would decide this election. There aren't very many swing voters. Everyone was like, it's going to come down to 7 states. Trump won every one of the 7 swing states. Why? Blueprint did a post-electoral analysis. And what was it that they found that actually moved swing state voters, who they define as someone who changed their voting preferences since 2020? Means in 2020 they voted for Democrats, and now this time they voted for Republicans, or in 2020 they voted for Republicans, and now they voted for Democrats. And what did they find the single most important issue? Was it immigration? No. Was it inflation? No. Was it Israel? No. It was none of the 3 the letter I centric issues. It was that Kamala Harris focused more on cultural issues like transgender issues rather than helping the middle class. This is why this bothers Jen Psaki. This is why she comes up with this inane logic that, well, shame on you for noticing. Shame on you for noticing. Shame on you for being fearful that what is happening to kids around the country, what is happening to athletes in the Mountain West, what happened to Riley Gaines, what happened to these girls in Connecticut, what happened to Peyton McNabb in North Carolina, what is happening around the country in other places where we don't know the names of transgender athletes playing in women's sports or going into women's spaces where we can't pull the name out of the air, but we know it's happening. Loudoun County, Virginia, where a boy wearing a skirt raped a girl in the school bathroom, and they arrested the father of the girl for going to school and making noise about it. All of this is much ado about nothing, according to Jen Psaki. But as is obvious from my ridiculous comparison, if you took this same attitude that she applies to the transgender issue and you said, well, I mean, on this E. coli outbreak, only 1 person has died and only 15 have been hospitalized. What are you worried about? Just go ahead and eat the carrots. That would be stupid, right? That would be insensitive, right? Because why? Because it could become a much larger problem if you don't attend to it. And here in the state of Ohio, they had their heads buried in the sand at the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Oh, we only have a few, and they're not dominating. You know what? You know when it becomes a problem? When it's a problem. Did we have a problem in NCAA athletics before Leah Thomas? Will Thomas ended up stealing championships from women? No, we didn't have a problem. And then all of a sudden, oh, there's this big hairy problem. All of a sudden, you're dead from eating an E. coli infested baby carrot. Too late to do anything about it then. This is the mind of someone who spoke for the presidential administration and who now purports to be an influencer on the Democratic side of the aisle. This is moronic that she takes this position. She has a daughter. She is a woman, if I can be so, so full of temerity to assume something that she probably wouldn't admit about herself, that she is a woman. Utter stupidity. Well, it's not that big of a problem. Just let it go until it becomes a problem, until the whole country is dead from E. coli.
Mostly cloudy and mild for this afternoon. The high today at 62. Partly cloudy, mild evening. Low tonight at 55. Clouds and mild, a couple of showers for tomorrow. The high 63. Clouds and a few showers on Wednesday. Breezy afternoon, a little bit cooler. High 57. Clouds, breezy, cold day on Thursday. Rain and snow at times, becoming all rain. The high Thursday afternoon.
Reflection is good, but if that were actually an issue at thousands of schools across the country, it would be worthy of a debate. But there are just incredibly few examples of transgender girls playing in youth sports. And when we see those examples, there isn't evidence that these kids are a threat to safety or fairness.
I figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you're a business owner and a listener to this station, you might not realize that the conservative news and talk content that you enjoy is advertiser supported. Our loyal audience loves to do business with the advertisers who make our programming possible. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some advertisers who avoid us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our listeners are eager to support advertisers who support our conservative programming. Join the successful companies who reach customers who care about this programming. Become a part of making a difference in the lives of people who listen and who are passionate about supporting the great family of advertisers who are part of this station. It's truly a perfect match for you and for them.
To learn how to reach our audience with your business's message and support this station, contact Carolyn Cassidy at 614-318-0401 or click on the Advertise With Us banner at 989theanswer.com. That's 989theanswer.com.
Attention patriots and all who love freedom. Are you ready to embark on an unforgettable adventure? Journey with me, Mike Gallagher, along with Larry Elder, Dennis Prager, our special guests, Joe Piscopo and Jennifer Horn on the Patriots Alaska Cruise, August of 2025. This experience is more than a vacation. It's a chance to participate in profound discussions and spirited debates with like-minded patriots. 7 action-packed days surrounded by the wonder and majesty and beauty of Alaska's rustic landscapes. Gain profound insights as you're immersed in the splendor of glaciers and fjords. And right now, it's a great time to buy a cruise as a holiday gift. You got to book through us to have access to all our events. So don't wait. Visit travelwithsalem.com. Travelwithsalem.com. Mark your calendars, August 16th through the 23rd, 2025. Secure your spot on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure by calling 855-565-5519, 855-565-5519, or online, travelwithsalem.com.
What does a waterfall have to do with us? How do mountains relate to? How is anything like? What's the similarity between? And the answer is they are all parks, because the National Park Service isn't just about unspoiled nature. It's also about history, recreation, remembrance, and so many other things. Find out what a park can be to you at findyourpark.com.
Well, I don't know what you're going to get for Christmas. I don't know what you want for Christmas, but my guess is you wouldn't mind having somebody else pay your mortgage for you. And if that is the case, then you should go to 989theanswer.com and you should register to win the grand prize in the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Sweepstakes. Because if you win it, then you will have your mortgage or rent payments made for you in 2025, up to $18,000. That's right. Now, to increase your opportunity to win, first of all, you should go and enter more than once, and you can enter once per day until December the 22nd. But you can also enter more than once per day, and we're kind of running this like a Pennsylvania election. You can enter multiple times per day, but we do require you to fill out optional activities. So we're not in defiance of a court order to get you in more than once per day. Do it legally, but do it today, multiple times if you would like. The Christmas Mortgage Miracle Sweepstakes at 989theanswer.com. All right, typically I like to move on from one topic to another so I don't overload you with the same thing. I might come back to it a little bit later in the show, but I only got about halfway through this Jen Psaki clip where she is contending that Democrats, and this is good actually for our side because they've lost this argument and they're not going to be able to persuade people. Like, they're not going to be able to persuade people that boys playing girls sports is a good idea. They're just not. Because it's visually indisputable. When you see a man, when you see a boy on a girl's team, it's not as hard as Where's Waldo. You go, there's the dude right there. There's the dude. Oh, the 6'5" guy, Will Thomas. Yeah, that's a man. Okay. The shoulders, the Adam's apple, the height, it gives it away. I just finished raking Jen Psaki over the calls for her stupid. Nothing to see here on the transgender thing because it's not happening all over the country. And because it happens so few places, it's not really a problem. We don't have to really worry about it. And I liken that to this E. coli outbreak from baby carrots from a California grower. And the carrots are on sale at Whole Foods and Walmart and Kroger. And I'm like, well, what are we worried about? I mean, there's only one person dead. There's only 15 people hospitalized. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we sell these carrots everywhere. Why would we be worried about the carrots and the E. coli if we're not worried about the transgender thing? And on my screen pops up from Libs of TikTok. Breaking, Somerset Public School just won the Massachusetts State Championship in girls field hockey. The 2 winning goals were scored by a boy on a girls team. Okay, so more. Maybe Jen Psaki, maybe I didn't listen to her long enough. Maybe if I listen to more, she will convince me.
Look, reflection is good. But if that were actually an issue at thousands of schools across the country, it would be worthy of a debate. But there are just incredibly few examples of transgender girls playing in youth sports. And when we see those examples, there isn't evidence that these kids are a threat to safety or fairness.
Okay, enough nonsense. There isn't evidence they're a threat to safety or fairness. I can't fathom. I really can't. I'm honest. I'm not kidding around. I can't fathom having such a dark heart. You could use your platform on national television to lie to people like that. I can't fathom it. I cannot. One of the things that I pray virtually every day, and if I don't do it every day, I'm remiss in not doing it every day, is that I will use this platform judiciously to expound truth. No amount of money, none, could convince me to do what she's doing that she knows is a lie. She is a mother. She has a daughter, maybe more than one. I don't know. I don't believe in karma, but she is advocating for a position that would, if her daughter were an athlete and were to encounter a boy playing a sport Jen Psaki's daughter played, would reduce the possibility of her daughter gaining the self-esteem she could gain from achieving at a high level athletically. Because while Democrats always complain about the imagined pay difference between men and women, if they always complain when they lose a presidential election that, well, it's sexist, it's misogynistic, and there's a glass ceiling and women can't rise above it. Boys playing girls' sports, defending that vile evil, constructs an unbreakable glass ceiling on what girls can achieve. And they see no disconnect between the position that they take and the reality of damaging girls physically and psychologically. They see it as an issue that they have to be enslaved to lies. Why? Because they need the allegiance and support of a voting bloc that wants them to say these things. It is beyond my understanding how someone can take a paycheck or have a brain so twisted This says nothing. My objection to this has nothing to say, zero to say about the person who is trapped in what must be a hellish existence of doubting your biological reality. My opposition to this has nothing to say about those kids. I feel bad for those kids, but those kids are not served by the people who would continue to lie to them, as I've said many times, because it is inarguable. There is no other, zero other medical condition where the patient self-diagnoses and the doctor, be it a psychologist or be it a physician or be it a surgeon, nods along approvingly because they allow the patient to self-diagnose. That is the essence of gender-affirming care. Do we have cancer-affirming care? Do we have fractured limb-approving care? Do we have... No, we don't, because that would be ridiculous. As is this ridiculous. As is this ridiculous. These are the people. As I said, she's a White House spokesperson. She articulates policy positions, or did, for an administration that would expand, which is to say, obliterate Title IX, which was established 50 years ago, which has been a piece of legislation that people like Billie Jean King and back in the day, women's rights activists, women's sports activists like Donna Lopiano and others hailed as landmark legislation. And all of them now, all of them, clam up and refuse to say anything because they don't want to be excommunicated, shunned from the tribe. It's instructive that when someone like a Chloe Cole goes down this dark path and takes it to its deepest, darkest place and allows the mutilation of their own body in pursuit of their authentic self, and then they gain clarity about the horrific choices that the adults around them failed them on and allowed them to make, it is instructive that the people who lured them into this dungeon of depravity are the ones who most ardently attack them when they gain their sanity and want to return to the life that God ordained for them when he created them in the womb. The vitriol, the cannibalization of people who come to their senses on the lie of gender dysphoria. They don't love you. They don't want you in their community if you dare think for yourself.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with...
Obviously, that's a topic that really angers me. It doesn't anger me solely because I have 3 girls, all of whom play sports. It angers me because I could not control myself if somebody did to my daughters or my wife what has been done to other women. And most of all, it is an affront to the truth of God, who designs every human being with a unique purpose in mind and is an infallible, holy God. He does not make mistakes in the sex that someone is born. He does not make mistakes. Why would you worship a God who makes mistakes? I feel so bad for these kids who are hoodwinked into this lie. And I can't imagine how God views people on Reddit and in social media and others who are so captured by this evil that they advocate for it. It is It is a pox on our time that we absolutely must eradicate from our culture. Not the people, the ideology. The ideology must be eradicated from our culture. We gotta love, truly love these kids, come alongside them and help them understand that this is not the path that God wants for their life. So that's where I am with it. Thanks for watching.